He ain't lying. I just wish I could have been out, you know what I'm saying? To prevent a lot of shit. But, you know. But nah, Foz, he ain't lying.
And sitting there on the witness stand, voice shaking but eyes burning with truth, is Muna Duke. That's how this story begins. Not with a gunshot. A heated argument turned deadly. A single moment of chaos. A spray of bullets. Was gone at just 26 years old, but the death of Vaughn wasn't just another statistic in a city plagued by violence. It was a spiritual earthquake, one that sparked a firestorm of silence, suspicion, and sorrow. And now, years later, the people closest to him are ready to talk. Muna Duke wasn't even on the streets when it happened. It messed me up, he said. I was just seeing him on the tablet in magazines. Then they tell me he's gone. That ain't real, man. That broke me. Imagine that. Believing you'll reunite soon only to find out your brother is lying in a casket while you can't even say goodbye. That wasn't grief. That was torture. Even the correctional officers usually. Because Vaughn wasn't just a rapper, he was a force. His name rang through the blocks, through the cells. Youngin, still free on the outside, saw his mentor fallen. Everything changed. For him, Vaughn wasn't just a friend. A real one who proved you could make it out the mud without losing who you were. But Vaughn's death didn't just end a career. It ripped a hole through the very soul of OBlock, and some people started talking too much. Muna. In interviews, in songs, in conversations, name-dropping, finger-pointing, what really happened that night? Who was really involved? And just like that, the silence around Vaughn's murder got dangerous, because when people talk too much in the world, Vaughn came from some of those who spoke up didn't live long enough to regret it. Court documents. Those started to pile up. Now Duke is back on the outside, but he's not the same. The responsibility. They asked him, what kind of person was Vaughn? Really? Duke didn't blink. He was real loyal. Made sure everyone around. Vaughn wasn't flashy. He was strategic. He wasn't just a rapper. Old wounds reopened, and Duke fresh out was suddenly, because of loyalty, every song, every bar, every story, it's all part of keeping Vaughn alive. Not just in memory, but in meaning and youngin. He did the same. Every lyric, every visual, Vaughn was right there with him. The same style, the same raw truth, the same pain. Because when Vaughn died, the mission didn't. The hood didn't fold. They adapted. But what people didn't realize is this. Because while they were honoring Vaughn's death was still lurking, bodies started dropping youngin. Others, one by one, the very ones who spoke out, who kept the truth alive, started disappearing. And suddenly the whispers started again. They said too much. With loyalty, but even in the face of death, Duke kept talking. He shared one memory, a private one. The day Vaughn asked, him, you think I should rap? And Duke, being real, said hell no. We don't rap, that's not us. He changed the game. He made people believe that greatness could come from pain, that scars could become verses. And everyone who carried Vaughn's torch ended up paying it. The courtroom of public opinion has already spoken. King Vaughn was more than an artist, he was a movement. But like every movement born in fire, it burned bright. And why did the ones keeping it alive end up dead? This isn't just about music, it's about truth. And truth in these streets can get you killed.
Yeah, probably like 4-5 months before I got out. Yeah, that shit happened. Yeah, like 4 or 5 months.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man, what was that like for you when you got the news?
Shit, I couldn't believe that shit. That shit fucked me up. From, talking to him every day. But not, I ain't gonna say every day, but you know what I'm saying? Just seeing how shit going, see how bro them living from off the pictures and shit like that.
You can hear the raw pain in Duke's words revealing the shelves.
It was really kind of like unreal to me, because I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing bro them seeing him in the magazine, seeing him, on the tablet and shit like that. So I'm like, then talking to him like, man, when you get out, man, woo, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of this shit was like damn, you know what I'm saying? Like we in it, you know what I'm saying? But that shit, you know what I'm saying? That shit happened, whatever case is, so.
What was the reaction from the jail when they found out that he passed away?
Man, the jail that I was in, they was up, you know what I'm saying? From the correctional officers and all type of shit, you know what I'm saying? Because they for him too, you know what I'm saying? And they for me off the strength for him, you know what I'm saying? So, they kind of jail up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As the screen fades from black, we open on a dim courtroom, the walls echoing with the heavy silence of justice. A lone microphone buzzes as Muna Duke takes the stand. His hands are steady, but his eyes, those eyes carry the weight of years. Loss, brotherhood, rage, and an unspoken vow for truth. The camera closes in as the prosecutor leans forward, voice calm, almost chilling. Mr. Duke, when you heard King Von had been killed, where were you? He exhales, slow. I was locked up. Heard it from another inmate, just a whisper down the tier. But it hit me harder than any sentence. Flashbacks hit the screen.
When he first came home, and then he asked me what you think? You think I should start rapping and shit? But me being me, I'm getting that hell no, you know what I'm saying? Cause we ain't never rap a day in our life type shit. So it's like, but I wasn't thinking of it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, hell no, cause I couldn't see it. But shit, he turned out to did that shit. That shit changed my life.
The aftermath of Von's murder also saw an intensification of the ongoing beef between rival factions in Chicago's drill world. The circumstances of Von's death, catching a fatal bullet in a dispute with another rapper's squad, mirrored the very street conflicts that had been the subject of so much drill music, blurring the lines between lyrics and reality in disturbing ways. As Duke reflected on Von's impact during a 2023 interview, he expressed not just personal grief, but recognition of what Von had meant to their entire hood.
How did his death affect your guys' block?
It affected us like a lot, you know what I'm saying? He was one of the, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of big bro over there, you see what I'm saying? Like he was kind of one of the older ones, you know what I'm saying? It affected us a little. It hurt us though, I ain't gonna lie, it hurt us.
Grainy footage of Duke pacing a prison cell, slamming his fists into concrete, raw emotion choking the air, his face pressed against the bars. The silence of grief magnified behind walls that didn't care. Back in the courtroom, the tension thickens. And how did the prison respond? They cried, Duke says, voice cracking. Even the guards, they ain't from my side, but they felt it. That's how real Von was. The crowd murmurs, even the judge shifts. The name King Von had echoed far beyond the block. It had crossed enemy lines into the media, into the prison, into the hearts of those who never met him, but felt every word he ever spit into a mic. Cut to a recording, Youngin, standing in a dimly lit studio, his voice shaking as he lays down a verse over a haunting beat. The lyrics cut deep. You took Von, but you ain't kill what he stood for. Back to the trial, a large monitor lights up. Surveillance footage from that night outside Monaco Hooker Lounge flickers on. A crowd screams, gunshots, and then a body, the prosecutor points. Is this the moment King Von was taken? Duke nods, barely able to speak. Yes, that's when everything changed. The defense rises. But weren't there words exchanged before the shooting? Trash talk, threats, Duke glares. This ain't about ego. It's about a brother who never backed down. Not for fame, not for beef, not for nothing. He walked into that fight with loyalty, not bullets. The courtroom gasps. Emotional testimonies follow from Von's team, each voice trembling with memories. They talk about his loyalty, his obsession with uplifting OBlock, how he fed entire families, bought shoes for kids, paid rent for struggling mothers, all while recording verses that echoed the pain of a broken city. Then comes the most chilling moment. A voice recording never before played publicly is entered into evidence. It's Von, a voicemail he left for Muniduke before his death. Yo, when you get out, we got moves to make. No more wasting time. I got you, always. Silence, tears. Fall in the courtroom? Even the stenographer pauses, wiping her face. The judge's gavel slams, but it doesn't silence the noise outside. Protesters, fans, families chanting his name. Von, Von. Von, this isn't just a story about another rapper lost to the streets. This is a testimony, a case study, a warning, and most of all, a vow. Because as Muna Duke steps off the stand, he doesn't just walk back to the benches. He walks into legacy.
Duke eventually stepping into a more prominent role when he touched down. In interviews after his release, Duke consistently painted Von as a real one who stayed true to his roots even as his bank account grew. In a January 2024 sit-down, Duke kept it simple but real about Von's character.
Now, when it comes to King Von, what was he really like?
As far as what?
As a person.
As a person?
Yes.
He was a genuine person, you know? Like, real stand-up guy, you know, loyal. Go look out for, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure everybody around him good, you know what I'm saying? If he had a chance to, you know what I'm saying, a better person situation, he was a real good dude.
This description matches what others have said about Vaughn as someone who put loyalty and taking care of his squad above everything. Even as his paper stacked up, Vaughn stayed connected to the O and committed to bringing up those who had been riding with him from the jump. Grieving Vaughn's murder was complicated by the ongoing cycle of violence that had already claimed so many young lives in Chicago. For Duke, Youngin, and others from the block, Vaughn's death wasn't just a personal loss, but an
Because as Duke steps off the stand, he doesn't just walk back to the benches, he walks into legacy. But legacy, in these streets, is dangerous. Just weeks after the trial, a chilling silence begins to settle over OBlock. The camera pans through. Empty lots, boarded-up corners, murals of Vaughn faded by rain, the hood quieter than usual. The city feels haunted, not by ghosts, but by unfinished business. Duke, now free, walks through these streets with a heavy conscience. He visits Vaughn's old block. Kids run up to him, some smiling, some asking him about the trial. He hugs them, tells them to stay out of trouble, but his eyes keep scanning the shadows. And then, it happens. Late one night, a black SUV rolls up beside Duke's car outside a South Side gas station. No words, just gunfire. The screen cuts to black. Sirens, scream. A news anchor's voice bleeds through. This just in. Duke, close affiliate of slain rapper King Von, has reportedly been shot multiple times. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The headlines explode. Retaliation, street justice. Gang hit, nobody knows. Or maybe everybody does and they're just too afraid to speak. The trial wasn't over, it just moved to the pavement. The video cuts to Youngin alone. In his studio, candlelight flickering beside a framed picture of Vaughn and Duke, he's recording a new verse. No auto-tune, no filter, just raw pain. All my soldiers buried, ain't no flags, just dirt. Ain't no medals, just mothers and shirts. And then, only days later, the unthinkable. Another news break. Chicago rapper Youngin found dead in an apparent drive-by shooting. Late Tuesday night, authorities are investigating potential gang involvement. Back-to-back, funerals. Vaughn. Then Duke, now Youngin, 3 soldiers, gone. One legacy hanging by threads. The courtroom is empty now, just dust and echoes. But the story isn't because this isn't just about rap. It's about a system that raised them with no mercy and buried them with no answers. It's about a cycle that spits out bodies faster than it prints headlines. The final scene fades in. A young boy, no older than 10, stands at a mural of King Von, tracing the outlines of his face with his finger. He's wearing a shirt with Duke's name on the back, and headphones blasting Youngin's last track. He turns to the camera. They thought, they killed the story, but we still listening. Fade to black. Narrator VO. You can silence a man. You can even bury his name, but you can't kill what he stood for. If people keep telling the truth, subscribe to BuzzFlash Celebs. For more real, raw, and untold stories from the heart of the culture,